Hi. Today we're doing a reading comprehension video. Uh, Today we're doing a reading comprehension video. My name is David Brodsky. This is English Tutor Toronto. Um, Today's video is going to be talking about appreciating a text. Okay. This is going to apply for any grade 1 to 12 in Canada. It's going to apply for any level of English, whether or not you're it's going to apply more for okay, so it's not going to apply for any level of English, but it's going to apply for students who understand what they're reading, most of like 90% of the vocabulary, let's say. So this applies reading comprehension, appreciating a text. It's mostly for students that understand 90% of the vocabulary in the text, right? Or even 90 to 100%. Um, so once you've gone through a text, once you understand the literal meaning of the words or the metaphorical meaning of the words, now uh, comes the question of the second level of reading comprehension, which is reading appreciation or analysis. Reading appreciation or analysis, the key point is that you have to question the text. Now, the exact questions that you ask is going to depend on the kind of analysis that you want to do. Now, the first thing that you want to do is to choose the unit of analysis. Now, this could be a page, this could be a chapter, a paragraph, etc. Just some section of the text that you want to analyze. In this comic book example for Spider-Man, I like to go by the panel. So, for example, my spider half seems to be having the time of our life, sitting courtside at basketball games. Oh, you know what? Obnobbing with celebrities. Well, ladies, I guess these days I'm just feeling a lot more free, even cashing in on big endorsement deals. Hey, Spider fans, when I fight crime, I build one serious appetite. That's when I snap into a. The whole thing has made me nervous, angry, and if I'm honest, maybe a little jealous. So, I want to analyze this panel for a comic. If you want to analyze something, you have to ask questions. Okay, um, questions could have something to do with images. What do all these companies represent? Just questions can have to do with understanding images. That's one kind of analysis. Another kind of analysis is okay, something that commonly comes up for like high school students is like themes, characters, settings. You know, you can ask questions about what kind of a character is Spider-Man, or what kind of theme is being represented in this issue, or what is the author saying about Spider-Man as a thematic message. So character, themes, imagery, not imagery, but character themes, setting, plot, etc. From a comic book analysis, just specifically related to comics, why has the author made certain creative choices? Why have they placed certain text in rectangles and in speech bubbles? Why has the author made certain text bubble choices, certain speech bubble choices, certain caption choices? Um, a lot of analysis comes from the question of what is the author's, or one kind of analysis comes from the question of what is the author's purpose here. Other analytical questions you could, so I've recently been working with a student in grade 9, and her teacher asked her to annotate text, and she asked her to annotate text for text to world, text to self, and text-to-text connections. So can you make a connection between anything in the comic and your own life, right? Um, Basically, sometimes in high school you want to work on, or sometimes in post-secondary school you want to look at texts and you want to see their relationship to ideologies, right? Do we see, what would Spider-Man's position on capitalism be in this case? What might Spider-Man's position on capitalism might be? Uh, you know, you could also ask like, um, how would you read this from a perspective? So, I mean, yeah, I mean, you can read a text and you can add a certain framework to it, like, uh, I don't know, Marxist framework. The idea that there are proletariat and ruling classes fighting each other. What would such a framework say about Spider-Man? So kind of imagine yourself to be a Marxist with Marxist point of views. What would you say about Spider-Man here? Is he a proletariat? Is he um, a capitalist? Is he part of a revolution? I don't know. These are just, this last part is really mumbo jumbo, but it is something that comes up um, in school. Look at this from this framework, So, but this is mostly mumbo jumbo. One thing that comes up is like, can you find any literary devices here and discuss their significance? This is definitely a question that comes up in um, for most high school and even elementary school kids. It's like, identify words and phrases and literary devices amongst these words and phrases and why they're being used and to what effect. These are common analytical questions, and now that I think about it, it's mostly for students, but it's mostly for grades, 8 to 12 and beyond, right? It's grades 8 to 12 and beyond, but mostly just grades 8 to 12, if I'm being honest. I don't know what every college and university has different stuff going on. Even the liberal arts programs, you can have different stuff going on. So let's focus this on grades 8 to 12, specifically even 9 to 12. In order to understand text better, to appreciate it, you have to ask questions. You have to ask questions from all these different directions. You have to ask more questions. The more questions you come up with, the more questions you can ask and answer, the more you will appreciate and understand a text. But you have to start with things you actually want to know. Start with things you actually want to know, then continue with things that would improve the reading experience for you. I mean, that's an optional step, but I guess at the end of the day, it really does come down to things that you want to know. What do you want to know might be the key question. What do you want to know? And this is a good place to end this reading comprehension stuff, but because what do you want to know is the key question for reading comprehension. Ask that. When you're teaching, when you're reading, when you're doing anything, what do you want to know? And everything else doesn't really matter. Just sometimes it's just a couple words, sometimes it's a phrase. It's limited only uh, by the desire of the person reading. That's it. Thank you for listening. This is David Brodsky, English Tutor Toronto.